Okay, welcome everyone. I think we can get started. This is Uku Settings and Apps part. And Uku Settings and Apps part is important because this is the place where you decide which of the features you want to use and you do all the setup for your company. Uku is very flexible, so when you're first starting to work with the system, all you need is tasks and clients to already get a big benefit to be better organized at your work. But there are a lot of more features that you can use, you don't have to use, but you may use. But if you want to keep it simple, then you don't have to use everything that we have here. In case you haven't heard, we just released a new tier. We have a new subscription package called Elite. And here you can differentiate the Elite apps from the regular team subscription tier apps, with the Elite ones having a separate tag. Some of the Elite features will be released in 2025. They are not exactly ready yet. For example, BI reporting, e-signatures, proposals, capacity planning. These are still in the work. But the public API access, budgets, workforce management, documents integration already provides you with a lot of new features. And in addition to that, we have a new cool feature called Audit Log, where you can see actions that have been done. Let's delete the task. Where you can see actions under your account that have been done. Apparently I have some wrong set of filters here. All right, let's move on. So Uku, when you start work with Uku, the first thing you want to tackle is setting up your clients. And you can import your clients from integrations, from accounting software. You can import your clients from CSV files, so you can do the setup quite easily. And under a client's profile, you can really store any information you want to store for that client. So obviously for each client, you have the basic company data. And here you can then also take down whatever notes and information you want to share with your team members. And you can also upload any kind of documents you want to. You can also pin important notes, the ones that you want to show here on the sidebar as you move along throughout the system. You can keep the sidebar open here and you can see the pinned notes. In addition to that, you can create really any kind of custom fields that you want. So this means that you can store any information you want to store about your clients in Uku. You don't need to keep separate spreadsheets or Excel files to manage client information. You can create custom fields. These are all custom fields created under this account, for example. So you can have text type fields, date type fields. You can even keep your passwords here if you want to use the password type field. And the cool thing with custom fields is that you can run searches across the client database with the help of those custom fields. So if you want to filter out all your clients who have their fiscal year ending in a certain time period, you can do that with a date type of custom field. You can also, of course, create client groups. Once you have your clients set up and you start work with them, you can manage all the communication with your clients. You can see all the communication history with your clients under the communication tab. If you need to, you can also send out emails from here. You can see all the automations that you have set up for emails. And you can see the history of emails that went out and also the incoming emails. So this gives you the opportunity that when a colleague falls ill, you don't have to keep track of your colleagues' inbox. You don't have to know what they were supposed to work on today. If you want to, you can just also keep an eye on the incoming emails and make sure that if something critical comes in, that gets a response. You can also see a full list of documents that has been uploaded regarding this client. It can be documents uploaded directly to the client, but it can also be documents uploaded related to work. So you can get a full overview of everything that has been going on with the client here on the client profile. So you can take your notes, upload documents, keep track of communication, keep track of documents, and of course, keep track of work. When we are tracking work in Uku for clients, then there are two approaches to manage work in Uku for your clients. One of them is the recurring task plan. This is where you manage those tasks that reoccur weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, daily even. So here under the task plan, you set those tasks up. Alternatively, you can use the projects module. And the project is also a set of tasks that needs to be done, just like the recurring task plan. With the difference being that in the recurring task plan, tasks reappear again based on the time of the month or week or year. But projects are one-off projects where tasks depend on a project start or end date. So projects have a specific start and end date, whereas the recurring tasks keep on recurring. We do actually now also have the new addition that also for recurring tasks, you can set an end date, which means that you can say that this task reoccurs for 12 months and then eventually it ends, let's say in November 2025. And then this task won't reoccur again. So if you want to, you can also set the start and end date kind of to the recurring task if it's only needed for a period of time. Here for tasks, you can also set up dependencies between tasks. You can add a lot of custom fields for tasks. Let's take a look at a few examples. Let's take a few examples. So you can use custom fields, for example, to create a set of statuses that you want to keep track of. So tasks can be to do, in progress, done, or overdue. And you might need additional process steps or statuses which you want to track. So you can do that with custom fields, and you can define these process steps here. You can use custom fields to mark down unexpected expenses which you want to charge to your clients. You can use custom fields to track any other driver which you want to measure. For example, if you want to keep track of how many payslips you're processing per client or invoices, then you can create custom fields and keep track of these. And these values we can also pull to the invoices. So if you want to charge your additional expenses to your client, you can do that with this custom field. And we can also pull custom fields to reports. And I will show you a few examples later on. But just so you know, you can set all of that up already here in the task templates so that it would be easy to reuse these fields. In the task templates, you can also already set up the communication. So I mentioned before that you can have email automations with your clients. This is the place where you can set the email automations up. And you can say that these emails will need to go out on a regular basis, let's say every single time when this task starts. Let's add an email template here also. And let's add a recipient, let's say the project manager at the client's house. If you need to, you can customize the template. You can also say that the email needs to go out a few days before the start date of the task, for example, if you need to gather information. Or if you want to check the email content before it goes out and you want to make sure that it's correct, then you can also say that the email needs to go out right away when the task is finished. That way you can first check the email content and then mark the task done to make sure that the email content that goes out is correct. If you're not that into using emails, then you can also use the client portal and say that this task always needs to show up in the client portal. So this and a lot of other things you can already set up here in the task plan. And when I say task plan, then this means that all the tasks here in the plan, these are task templates. So every single time when it's time to do this work, Uku generates the actual task based on this template as a copy of this template. So all the changes that you make to this template, they will be applied to future tasks. Uku generates tasks 45 days into the future. So if you need to take a look at what's going to be happening in the future, then you can easily use the calendar view where you can see all the upcoming tasks. If you're a manager, you can take a look at other colleagues' calendar views also. And here you can actually even see the sum of task estimations. So for each task, you can add an estimation. And of course, you can already do this in the templates, saying that this task should take about 1 hour. And then here in the calendar, we will show you the sum of estimations so that you would know when you have overplanned a day. And then the 8 hours here is the expected workload of this employee. And then we also have the track time, which is a bit too much for today. All right. Let's go back to the client. So we talked about entering the work. We talked about managing the full communication and documents and data related to the client. And you can also do billing in Uku. So you can set up contracts for your client. And when you set up contracts, then Uku will start generating draft invoices for you based on those contracts. You can also always add an invoice manually, but you don't have to. You can set up the contract and then you can just check the invoice that Uku has generated for you automatically and make sure that it's correct. And here as an example, let's open one of the examples also. So you can combine different pricing logics for your clients. You can set the fixed price service fee if you have a fixed price base fee. You can bill additional hours by counting hours. You can do total hours or only extra work hours if you want to separate extra work and normal work. And then you can also do a product which dictates Uku that all the costs entered then, let's say, into the field expenses will be pulled on the invoice. So you can enter any value in that field, in the custom field, and we can pull that to the invoice too. So you can do a lot of different pricing logics and setups. And you can also do budgets. So this is a new feature that you can also track budgets in Uku. So you can enter different type of projects. You can build a budget based on all invoices issued for that client in a certain time frame. You can build a budget to track all costs related to contracts that you have set up in a certain time frame. You can do that by topic, which means that we will be counting the hours that have been logged. And you can also track per project. You can also tell Uku to send you a notification either only inside the tool or also via email when a certain amount of the budget is reached. So you can say that you want a notification when 75% of the budget has already been spent, and you can do that. And if there's a budget that is already way above what it's supposed to be, where we see that the costs exceed what we said that's allowed, then you will see notifications indicating that something is wrong. And when you see a task of that client, you will also see on that task that there is something potentially problematic going on the financial side. So all your team members who are working with this client, they will see this tag and they will know that there's potentially a problem with this client that needs to be investigated. All right, so very briefly, for each of your clients in Uku, you can manage and track work. You can manage and track costs and create invoices, and you can manage and track all the communication and documents that have been sent. So you can set up your full practice management here. What this means for your team members is that when you have started work with Uku and you have done the setup, you have the recurring task plans and projects in the system, then every single employee of your team will log into the system in the morning and they will land here on their dashboard. Every single person can set the dashboard filters as they prefer. They can set groupings on the dashboard as they prefer and save this as their preferred view if they want to. And they can also save a set of preferred views if they need to. And now, why is this important? You can use this custom dashboard views to keep track of specific type of work that may or may not need to be shared with other people. So for example, maybe you want to have a custom dashboard to see only client portal tasks. So you want to see all the tasks that you're sharing with client portal with your clients. Or you can do a similar setup also to track all the support tasks. We just released the feature in Uku that you can send in emails, which we will then turn into tasks. So you can build yourself a customer support dashboard into Uku, where you see all those unexpected requests and questions that come in, either from the client portal or from email. Just forward it to Uku, and then you can immediately start tracking time for those tasks. And that time can be pulled to the invoices. So you can immediately charge for all the support requests that you're working with. For your employees, working with the dashboard and with the tasks means that they log in the morning and they can just immediately start work. They can start the timer on a specific task and start work on it. And I can easily switch the stopwatch between other tasks. If I'm working on something and someone interrupts me, I can quickly jump over to the magic buttons and choose a predefined magic button. You can define your own. So I can say that I got a phone call from a client. I immediately jumped over here. The stopwatch is already running. So again, I'm getting really good data about the additional work and the scope creep that I might be doing currently for my client. I can even mark this as extra work if I decide that this is scope creep. And while I'm on the phone, I can take down notes. I can add action items, which we have agreed on. And then once the phone call is over, I will just need to update the client, make sure that I have the correct client here, and make sure that I have the correct billable topic. I can use a not billable topic also if I want to, but I actually do want to build this, so I'll use a billable topic. And maybe I want to share this with my colleague because I want her to help me with this one. And I might want to share this to the client portal also if I want the client to check the action items that we agreed on. So very quickly, very easily, I have taken down all the information I need related to something that this client asked me to do, and I have the time tracked for it. And now if I want to, I can say that this wasn't billable, that this specific time entry wasn't billable, whereas the rest of the task might be billable. But again, I do want to bill for this. And here you can also see that I am tracking this time in the office. So if you want to differentiate office time and remote time, you can do that. You can also take down time entry comments. You can edit time entries, and you can also create time entries manually or in bulk. So you have a lot of different options how to make sure that the time entries are good and correct. Okay, I'll stop this. And then here I can easily again go back to the 3 last tasks that I was working with. So I can easily restart any of this. And the task is open to me again. The stopwatch started running here again as needed. And under the task, not only do I see the description and notes that have been taken down, I can also use this to communicate with my clients or with my team members. So if there's any communication going on with my client, if I send them an email, if they send me a reply, everything is here under this task. When I'm adding comments, they will be shown under this task. And I can add my colleague here so that now they will also see this task and see the comments and get back to me. If I want to, I can later say that it's time to remove her. So you know what, I'll take this task and she is removed. And now I can also share this to the client portal. And now I have the option to send portal messages to my client. And my client will see this in the client portal. So all the communication that I need to have related to this work is under this task. Not only communication, I can also add documents here, and I can have all the documents related to this work under this task. And if I have integrated this with my document repository, then these documents will immediately automatically be saved to your company's document repository if you have done the integration. So you can have, again, everything related to this here under this one place. You can also use the digitize button to forward these documents to any other place. All right. A cool thing that I want to tell you about work in Uku is that usually we pull everything to the invoices based on the month when the work was done. But if you want to, you can postpone billing. You can say that this task needs to be billed when the task is due. So I can set the separate due date into the future and say that bill this when it's due, or I can say to bill this when it's finished or on a custom date or never. So if you need to, you can always override the default billing settings. You can do customizations under each client for their contracts. And if you need to, you can still also do customizations on this specific task. So by the time I click that this task is done, I have gathered all the information under that task. I have gathered the time under the task. I have added all the expenses that I needed to add on that task. I have marked it done, and it will be pulled on the invoice as I set it to be pulled. All right. And of course, we have reports. Not only will you see all the work that has been done on the invoices that you're sending, you can also use the reports for it. And if you don't want to use budgeting, by the way, to keep track of if you're in line with your agreements, we have another option for that, which is called monitoring. So if you don't want to use budgets, you can use monitoring, where you set up your own drivers that you want to track. For example, again, how many invoices you're processing. By default, we do track how many hours are being worked, but you can also separate the hours into smaller service groups. If you want to track audit hours separately from consultancy hours and bookkeeping hours, for example, then you can do that also. And then Uku will tell you where you're doing more work than you have actually planned for this client. And then, of course, reports will help you keep track of how everything's going in the system. Let's take quickly last month's report. So again, much like with the dashboard, in the reports, you can also set your own preferred set of filters and save that as a preferred dashboard view. So this means that I have built myself a set of custom reports that I like to work with. And it's very easy for me to navigate to this. So in the reports, I can easily see how much work has been done for different clients, how many tasks have been done for them, how much time has been tracked. And now I can pull in also those custom fields, which I was talking about, if you want to track different drivers. So I can pull all those custom fields that we added on the tasks also to reports to see how much mileage we're actually covering for a client, how many pay slips are we processing per client, how many extra fees or extra services are we handling for this client, so extra expenses. So you can pull all this into reports as well. This beautiful visualization here in the above area will show you where you have higher workloads, where you have lower workloads. Let's take, for example, my audit projects. I can easily see in which months I had a lot of audit projects and in which months I didn't have so many audit projects. So this already provides me with valuable insights into what the next year probably will look like. I can keep track of how many overdue tasks do we have, how many tasks are done, how many are to do. So this is good for specific work, but this is also good if I just want to see this week's overdue tasks, for example. I can build myself a report to see which tasks and how many do I have that are overdue for this week. So I can easily track the work progress for my full team and see where they are falling behind. I can also use the reports to track my own time at the end of the day to make sure that I have tracked my time as needed. Again, I can see how many billable hours I have tracked, how many non-billable. This has been a good day for me, obviously, a lot of billable hours. Don't know how I managed this in 24 hours. I can see if I still have any overdue tasks left from today. And in the reports, I can immediately see where I'm having issues with time entries. So obviously these red lines are telling me that I'm having a lot of overlapping time entries, which I need to fix, which will also fix the issue of too many hours logged. And if I have missing time entries somewhere, then this is also highlighted to me. And now I can just easily click on these three dots here and let's say cut previous time. And cut previous time, and let's cut previous time from here on also. Uku tells me that report has been updated, so the data here isn't accurate anymore. So let's update, and I already have a bit better data here, and I can keep doing this if I want to. So you can get really valuable reports out of Uku to track work progress, to track project progress, to track how your new employees are performing, or if you have new clients, how is work progressing for your new clients. You can create a lot of custom reports that you like to work with. And you can go into very detailed levels. So you can work with your summary views, with your task level views, with your time entry level. So again, very good detailed information. All right, I think I have managed to quickly cover a lot of basics. There is two more things that I do want to stress, or let's say three things. One of them, the document repository integration. We already have available Google Drive, OneDrive, and SharePoint, and we will add additional options here as clients request them. For email integration, you can integrate with your own existing email client, Gmail, Microsoft, but any other email server also. And you can set up email addresses which can be used by the full team. And you can also set up personal email addresses. So this means that you can also set up email addresses like no reply or invoices or info that can be used then by everyone. You can set up your custom signatures, make it look beautiful like you like it to look. You can upload your own logos there. And for emails, yes, if you're looking into the email app, it makes sense to take a look into the settings tab, because we do have new features regarding the email integration, and it makes sense to take a look here. The signature view. This explains how you can forward tasks or forward emails into Uku to turn them into tasks. You have a few options to allow replies from your clients to come into Uku or not to allow them, to allow emails from foreign, unrecognized contacts to be imported, or only from recognized contacts. So you have a lot of options here, and it makes sense to take a look here if you're interested in the email integration part. And lastly, I wanted to mention that it's not only to manage your clients and the work, you can also manage your workforce in Uku. You can add a lot of fields to enter any kind of information you want about your team. You can manage vacations, overtime. You can track office attendance if you want to. So there are a lot of options here also to track your team or to manage your team. So for example, you can create a lot of information fields for your team members if you want to keep track of their skill levels, which languages do they speak, or if you want to keep track of what kind of tools you have actually given them. And you can take down any kind of notes if you want to write down agreements that you have made with them. If you are doing any regular meetings with them, you can take down those one-on-one notes, anything you need. You can take down their working agreements, how many hours per week they're supposed to work. You can customize this per day if they're maybe not working full-time. You can do customizations here, and you can also take down the rate that you sell their work for, as well as their internal cost. So this will feed the information into budgeting. And of course, manage vacations. All right. We have covered a lot of different features and a lot of information. If you want to have a personal call, then book a demo here, find a suitable time. We'll be happy to answer any questions also in the private call if you want to, or just write to us if you need to. And of course, we didn't really have the time today to take a look at the client portal. So if this is also something that interests you, then again, let us know. There's a lot that you can also set up in the client portal, not only share tasks with them or gather information from them, but you can also set up your onboarding processes in the client portal, set up your feedback questionnaires, give them access to different document repositories, or give them access to the working agreement that you have signed with them. So again, a lot of different options. Then I'd like to thank you all for joining and wish you happy holidays.